And now I want to talk about my new Veda airbrushes I got. Now I know it's only been, it hasn't been long since I recently showed you my new Iwata HPC Plus, which I'm highly delighted with. But I didn't want to be putting in any old paint or specifically varnish, because eventually I'm going to be wanting to put a layer of varnish over my artwork to protect it. I definitely don't want to be putting varnish and things into my €150 airbrush when I could buy a €30 airbrush. So what I did was, having read a few reports, I heard about these Veda Chinese knockoffs. They are, no two ways about it, but that these ones are supposed to be reasonably well made. I have no qualms with it. This one is a side feed. I specifically wanted this one because I was very curious about the side feed. You put the cup on. You can see that. Put the cup on. Careful not to cross thread it, as I was nearly about to do. Just screw that on there, and then once it's screwed right on, it gets to there, you can take it then back, and then do this last bit of screwing with this last little thing here. Now the nice thing about this cup is that you can actually, if you want to work at an angle, you can turn the cup, and you can do it any way you like. So if you're working up on the ceiling, in fact, you imagine working vertically, you can put the cup there, and well, if you really wanted to, you could turn it so that it's upside down, and the cup's there if you wanted. I don't see no reason why you'd want to do that. But anyway, so this is I like that very much. The other reason I liked it is also because there is nothing there, whereas obviously there's the cup on the other one is here, so that's in the view, and I do find that it makes a big difference not having the cup in the way. It also, this one side feed comes with a siphon feed. This cup, by the way, is gravity fed, so when you put the paint in here, it is just pulled down by gravity into the front of the airbrush. Take that off, and if you want something with a larger quantity of paint, you pop that in there, push that on, and with the same, that doesn't seem to, wait a minute, push that on, and then with the same sort of screw thing, there you go, and now you have a siphon feed, so it actually gets sucked up the paint, rather than with the cup where it was just by gravity went down. So you've got the choice of both. Now I was worried that this would maybe be too heavy or whatever, but funnily enough it feels fine, and because it seems to rest against my fingers when I'm holding the airbrush, it feels just fine. I've actually not used the siphon feed yet, but obviously for varnishing this would be great, because you can get a lot more in there. Just have to bump up the PSI a bit, but I have definitely used the cup. I found this cup had a little bit of a groove at the bottom, if you can see where the hole is there, and I actually have used my stone grinder attachment from my Dremel, and I went in and just took the edge off, and then I polished it a little bit, but by doing that I did take some of the chrome off. And if you're not careful, as I discovered, if you slightly touch the side with the Dremel side, it will of course always do a bit of damage, but I managed to polish that up. But anyway, it now, because these are cheaper, they need tweaking, so I tweaked that. Now the paint flows perfectly. It was fine before, it just meant a little bit more got stuck at the bottom, and I hate waste, so I did that. When this came, I bought this one which had a extra needle and nozzle set with it. It comes with the 3mm 0.3mm needle in it and nozzle, and you get I got an extra 2 0.2 needle and nozzle, and a quick release. So that was great. Now this one, the side feed which is the WD134E. That was once it's been converted and everything, it came to about €28. But that's including the extra needle and nozzle set and the quick release. Now I think that's great value for money. I've done quite a bit of tweaking to it. When I got it, it felt a bit stiff in the valve, so I took the valve out and I put some super lube, which I've got for my my Iwata HPC Plus. I bought that at the same time, so I've got some super lube. So I lubricated that up at all the moving parts. I put a little bit of Teflon tape on the inside of this, the screw part of this, because it was a bit loose, just to tighten it up a little bit. I also changed the spring. Now the spring inside here, the needle spring, was quite loose, the one that they sent. So I heard a tip that used one from a ballpoint pen, and I swapped it for someone. It fits fine, and now it's got a much nicer feel to it. It's yeah, brilliant. Just a few little tweaks here and there, and it feels much better. So I've used it. It airbrushes very nicely, and I now have the option of the siphon feed and the gravity fed with this side feed brush. At the same time, I bought the WD180, which is actually the Micron knockoff, and again made by Veda. This one, I did the same thing. I super lubed the valve. Just took this off and just put some super lube on it and let it soak in. This one, of course, has the bells and whistles. It's got the limiter on the back. This one is fine. I didn't need to put any Teflon tape on that. It's got the cutaway for the pulling back of the needle here to dump paint. It's got here the needle. This cutaway here shows you the needle packing screw, which you can put a little screwdriver in there and just turn that up. If you find that the paint is leaking back into this chamber, it's because this isn't tight enough, this screw in there. I've discovered that as well. Obviously this one has got the cup on the top. It's got here the MAC valve as well, so you can adjust small amounts of the air pressure without having to do it on the compressor itself. And I've just put a little bit of tape here for my own comfort. There's a little screw underneath here which I find moves, and it was just getting on my nerves a bit, so I just put a bit of tape on there. It's just for my own comfort. Again, I haven't used it extensively, but the little bit that I've used it, yeah, fine. I'm going to clean the needle up a bit more when I do a bit more with it, but yeah, surprisingly good. For the price. And this one was a little bit more expensive. It was about €33 once everything, the exchange rate had gone in. But this one also came with an extra. This has got 0.2mm needle in it, and it came with an extra 0.3 needle and nozzle set. So, and as well with the quick release. So. Again, I've got a 0.2 needle and a 0.3, and because I've got that with the other brush as well, I've got spare needles for either side, and spare nozzles as well, which is very handy because they can be swapped over. So there you go. At the same time, I also bought a 0.5 needle and nozzle set. That cost me about €10.50 for that, because both these brushes, either the side feed brush or this brush, can be fitted with the 0.2, the 0.3 or the 0.5 millimetre needle and nozzles, apparently. So there you go. These also can be interchanged. This has a crown cap on it. My other one doesn't. It has just an ordinary cap, round cap on it. But I can take this one off there and put it on there if I want. So you can do a bit of swapping round and play with them. And for the price, absolutely brilliant. So basically for what, €70, I've got two airbrushes I've got this one with a 0.2, which is fine for close-up detail work. I've got this one with a 0.3, and that's the gravity feed and the siphon feed options, so I can do bigger jobs with it and wider sprays. I've got the option of changing the needles, because I've got spare needle and nozzle sets in both sizes for both of them, plus the bigger one. If I want to do any larger objects, I'm thinking the 0.5, I'd probably want to use that for varnishing. But I haven't tried that yet, so we'll soon find out. So there you go, I have my gorgeous Iwata HPC Plus, which has got a 0.3 needle in it, and absolutely airbrushes like a dream. But I didn't want to mess around with this by doing anything that might do any damage to it. So I now have two other airbrushes with different possibilities and different options, and I'm so very surprised at how well they spray, and for the money, yes, I couldn't go wrong really.